turn this thing around so you're looking at something cool instead of my face. How's that?
Cool.
There you go.
Yeah, the camera gets shrunk when we do these lives because you're only getting half the screen now, so it kind of perspective. So I was just giving my fans out there a little glimpse of what we're going to do. Only aircraft, but now you've introduced this awesome Summer of Porsche exhibit that I've been watching for a while. So without further ado, I will let you go ahead and talk about your President Mark Foster of the Lyon Air Museum, and take the floor.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having us. So yeah, we're an air museum founded by General William Lyon. We've been around for about 10 years, our 11th year right now. And what we do, because we love all history, we love, theme for cars. And this summer we chose Porsche. And we're real excited about it. We have some great Porsches in here. Unfortunately, because of the COVID thing, the orders that we're not allowed to be open right now. So that's what we thought. We would just give you kind of an insider look at the cars and the Porsches, and we may sneak a couple airplanes in as we walk around as well. Stuff is. And happy to answer any questions, but for the most part, I think that some of the viewers will know more about them than even I do.
Okay, well, first, let me stop you there. So let's just go back into being that this is your summer of Porsche. Just curiously, what other makes have you had, in your other exhibits?
Yeah, we've had everything from Duesenbergs and Packards, European classic, so kind of a surf theme. So we've done all sorts of neat themes here, and this year just there's such a culture, car culture here in Southern California, and I'd say Porsche probably leads the way with that. There's just so many Porsche enthusiasts. Just learning about the whole car scene, and really it's I've gotten that bite. So the Porsche virus, and learning all I can about them, and now here we are surrounded by some great cars to look at. So I just keep walking around one as we do our little introduction. We'll get a little more interesting as we go along. But what we're looking at right here is a Porsche 312. It's a 19. It looks very aerodynamic, so streamlined, and I'd like to say that's to make it go really fast. But actually, what it was designed for the Brazilian coffee plantations, and by this design, it could go through the tight areas between the coffee plants without damaging them. So that's why it was designed like this. And this is something 220 of them built of this particular the 312. In general, Porsche has made about 160,000 tractors, and so a lot of people started pre-World War I with the designs of tractors, and then by post-World War II, they had aligned themselves with Allgaier and started making these, and
definitely.
Sorry.
This is definitely an unusual one.
Yeah, for sure. I don't really have a way to get in there and open this cowling. I'm going to open the cowling on some of the other cars, but I will. Instead of diesel, they chose gasoline because I guess diesel kind of leaves a residue on the plants and makes the coffee taste kind of funny. And being a gearhead like I am, I kind of like fuel tasting things, but they figured it was probably not a good idea, and so they went with gasoline, and it had a whopping 30 horsepower. Yeah, exactly.
My plans.
But I'm convinced.
originally, so I totally get fields and all that.
Yeah, I'm convinced if it had more horsepower, though, it could go a lot faster with all this streamlining.
Oh, Claude is mentioning, and Claude knows a lot about history of Porsche. He said it was to go in vineyards, which is interesting. So
yeah, there you go. Vineyards, coffee bean field. About this one here.
Okay.
It's a 1956 550A. It's a 1500 RS Spider, and it's just a Spider. This one first raced at Nürburgring in 1956. It's been racing kind of ever since, like with the vintage racing and so forth. But it was driven by some really noteworthy pilots, drivers. So John von Neumann and Jack McAfee and Hans Hermann and Richard, which I just think is the timing of the recent movie, that Ford v Ferrari movie that came out, that Ken Miles drove this car. He drove it at Riverside back in 1956. Yeah, so pretty interesting car here. And I think most of your viewers, they kind of know. I'm not going to go into the specs too much, but it weighed about 1,200 pounds. It had a 1.5 liter kind of mid-mounted, aluminum flat four engine. And I don't know top speed wise or anything, but probably way too fast. I've driven one just briefly, and it's a little go-kart, and you feel made famous by James Dean. He lost his life in one of these at age 24. I never really realized how young he was, but at age 24, and he was driving it to a race. He was heading to Salinas. So that was one
left they could have made.
Yeah, and that was one just like this car, but a year earlier. So that one was a 55. This is a 56.
Okay, I'm still going back to the 1,200 pounds because that is so incredible. Because a Porsche engine these days weighs more than 1,200 pounds. I mean, that's crazy that the whole car is so light.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's just such a, and it's, like we go over here, and I guess I can get a little closer here and show you.
You get carte blanche.
all aluminum, little steel tube frame there, and then riveted. You look at the riveting in the floor right there. You see that pretty? Yeah. So everything's, and of course all aluminum, and just really, really cool machine here. Okay, I'm gonna step off of this without falling. If you see the camera do a flip, you'll know what happened here.
Don't
this A26 Invader here. So,
I just remind you, the nice thing about you doing this, and I really appreciate it because, I have a worldwide audience. I'm not just a local, off, but that's the beauty of what you're doing, is that you're allowing people that would never be able to see this, especially during the COVID time, and we can even get back to that. But
thank you. What a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to do this. It's a little frustrating getting these cars in here. We were open for one day with the cars in here, and then we had the shutdown again, and so a little frustrating, but at least we can show them to all your viewers right now.
Well, I did, and I will give a plug because I did notice that you had a weekend at Porsche. I think it was scheduled this weekend, and you've scheduled it now to August. Was it 28, 29, I think?
Yeah, 29, 30, the last weekend of August. So that's our next shot at it. A lot of other events, Porsche events, I had to cancel because they were leasing space somewhere, a golf course or whatever, and you just can't reschedule something like that. But we could just kind of keep slipping the date. So so we're going to shoot for the end of next month, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. It's going to be a great event. We'll have a lot of neat visiting cars, and we have the opportunity to have some of the cars will be displayed out on the flight line in front of the museum, just out where the taxiways are. It's a really neat opportunity.
around the world. You know, obviously California is experiencing a lot, and LA is more so locked down. Orange County, I have to say, they got that cars and coffee, because I follow all of the Porsche people, and definitely my local market, and Orange County was first to get those going. So I'm giving props to Orange County where you're located.
Yeah, we have so many great car gatherings in here, and a lot of great turnout with cars. So this the 57, the 356 Speedster here, a race car. This car was it started became a race car back in the 60s. It was Hubert Kinsler, who was a factory trained Porsche mechanic and local racer back on, and was quite successful with it back in the 60s, and it still obviously continues now. It's one of the, we always kind of joke, but it's one of the winningest little 356 Speedsters around here in the Southern California area, with CC engine. And then let me see if I can pop this open here. I'm trying to do this with one hand. We'll come back over here. If I get everybody dizzy, let me know.
I think vintage is almost gathering more speed as opposed to gaining less. I mean, it's you know, saying that with a pun.
Yeah. So there you go. And I'm sure a lot of your viewers are going, ooh, yeah, we know what that is, and this, and yeah. So there's that.
That is awesome.
Yeah. This one's maintained by on.
Listen, you know what? I always feel that this is a big community. I mean, I'm doing the show even just for that. You know, some people say, you know, why are you spending all your time? He says, you know, I don't know how much you're going to be able to contribute. I just booked him, you know, this morning. And I said, everybody has a story. You know, that's the beauty.
Yeah, exactly. And Honest Engine, I was kind of kidding when I said that we're going to send them. They've been very supportive.
That's great.
Yeah. So let's see. We want to see some more?
Oh, yeah. I want to see everything.
Okay, so I think what we'll do, how about an Indy car?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so a Porsche Indy car.
Okay.
That's not something that we see every Porsche Indy car. There's a beautiful engine. Yeah, so look at that. So Porsche had, they had their start. They actually built their own chassis, and they went racing with this engine. And the idea was, okay, we're going to hoping. So they through a couple of different relationships, they ended up with March out of the UK, and March built a chassis, and they went with this same. I'm looking through my notes here so I can get all the numbers right, but they went with the same engine, which is the 2708. Anybody remember Teo Fabi back in the 80s, IndyCar driver? So Teo Fabi was the driver of this car. This car raced 3 times during that time period, all in the 1988 season, with Teo Fabi, at the wheel. And I'll find out. Let's see, it was the Miller High Life 200 in Milwaukee. The Bud very successful at that time. They just weren't there yet. And so this car, it tested at Indy as well, just right before the Indy 500. It did a 3-day weekend, then went to the Porsche Museum, and then ultimately ended up with Kerry Morse. He's the current owner of the car. It's really the only complete March IndyCar.
Past the side, but it says Porsche, and the P is cut off. Is that because the engine cover is off?
Yeah. So there's the E for the other side, And
Okay.
then,
Oh, there, oh,
yeah,
it's on
so,
the
yeah,
side.
so this is the, I always call them cowlings, but I guess it's a bonnet. But you get the Porsche. Yeah, and then here's a little picture for Tail Fobby there. That was him,
Nice.
the car. So that actually works pretty good, showing you pictures on the signs, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You didn't even read the text.
Yeah. So there's the Indy car, and it's like I said, I'm trying to do some notes too, because I want to make sure I don't tire wheel combo. And,
Chat right there and Quaker
yeah.
State.
Like, I think I need somebody to help me hold everything. But,
That
okay.
is having a phone. Yeah, holding that and something else is it's always fun.
Yeah, but this kind of makes. So there you go. There's a 92 Porsche Cup Car.
Okay.
So that's pretty neat. It's pretty rare. It's about 45 of these. Yeah, about 45 of these came into the United States, and I think the idea with this car was it was built for a series that never really came alive. So they ended up just making, and this is one of those cars, and it's pretty neat because they really spent a lot of time trying to take the weight out of it and make it a real high performance car. I think it ended up about 270 pounds coming out of it, based on what I just really high performance car that looks, I'd say like a sleeper, right? It's just the kind of car that you wouldn't really, you look inside, it looks like kind of almost like a 92 Porsche, but it's a lot more, yeah, a lot more special than that.
Usually a cup car.
Find the, we'll just open it up and we will find the little thingy. There it is. So we'll just pull this little guy like that. We'll come back around. Is this making anybody dizzy, or is this okay?
No, we're good.
Two lightweight Carrera models. One was the RS America, and I think they made a lot of those. They made, 700 of them or something. And then the other was the Cup Car, and that was the one that there was only 45 of them that came over into the U.S. So.
And it's funny. So the RS America was the lowest selling priced Porsche at that time, and now it is completely surpassed. And it's almost impossible to find RS Americas on the market.
Yeah, that's funny. And I know I'm kind of zoomed in a little. I don't really have a way. If I back up, I'm bumping into an airplane.
Right.
Okay, and now going the other direction, 67 912. And so this is a modified race car here. This has the 720 cc engine as well, about 140 horsepower. This one's raced regularly here. Some picture of it at the race here. Let's see, at a race. That's with Bill at the controls.
I love the tie into the actual vintage, picture of it. Those are great.
Yeah, and then this one right here, that's not this car. In fact, that's a Targa, but that was the 100,000th Porsche built. And it just happened to be a 912. And it went to the...
The police were patrolling.
Yeah. So now are you ready to see what I guess I've heard called the holy grail of Porsche 911s?
Yes.
Right there. So this is a 67 911R.
Okay.
So this is one of, I think there's about 23 of these anybody out there, by the way, if anybody has Instagram, and tell me all about it, because I want to know all I can about this stuff, and I'm still learning. So anyway, the thing
on the hood, I know there's reflections anyway, but is the hood of it, what's the material on that?
Yeah, and that's, you see it looks all dented. So the frame is made out of balsa wood, so it's one of the lightest woods out there, and then it's covered in fiberglass.
Wow.
And so it kind of oil cans. You can even see it in the light. It's not very flat. It's it's actually pushed in a little bit just from the weight of itself. And then the fenders, I believe, are fiberglass. Let's look around. You'll see some pretty neat stuff here. The doors are the lightest doors I've ever felt on any car. So this is a plastic handle, so you kind of have to be careful. And then this is all plastic, or fiberglass. And then of course, and it's got the little leather strap for pulling up the window. See the window right here, how it goes up and down. So that keeps everything light. And the door is the lightest little door. I wish you could sense that over the social media here, but it's just incredible how light it is. And then everything in here is flimsy. It's not really that thick. It's kind of a flimsy steering wheel. And then the had to have the second seat in there to meet the spec. And so they put the most light seat that you would never ever sit in, but that's there to meet the requirement. And then nothing in the back, of course. See, it's all just gutted. It's just velvet up there, but real lightweight. Yeah, I'm not sure if it left the factory that way or not, but that's how it's configured now. And then coming across over here, plastic, all the glass except. And then let's take a look. We can kind of see what's going on engine-wise here. This is, I believe, what was 210 horsepower. So there's the engine. It's all pretty, original maintained. It's not all shiny. It's all functional. And then this, yeah, and then this, yeah, exactly. And then this deck lid back here, I always call the cowling, but it's also. Is this the coolest looking exhaust out the back of that car?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Definitely they have that kind of genre of the exhaust that are protruding.
Yeah, it's just so cool. Okay, so let's walk past this again. You want to see some more cars?
The distinguishable and noticeable effects of a Porsche is the closing of that door and that kind of vacuum seal that happens. It's so that it was something you pointed that out. And then Claude, it's part of the reason why it has that wavy effect.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of resistance there. Yeah, so there, and then right behind you, I'll just point out, this is an American Airlines DC-3. So it's a big old flyable beast here that's kind of cradling these three, two 911s and a 912. This DC-3 back there really started its life back in 1942 as the cargo. June 6th, that was D-Day, and they participated in D-Day. After the war, it was converted back to more of an airliner configuration, and this one is in the livery of American Airlines, but was not operated by American Airlines. But we like that, so we chose to put it in these markings. And famous airplanes backdrop to these beautiful Porsches.
I love it. I mean, I'm excited to see your museum just for the airplanes alone. Of course, the Porsches are like the cherry on top, but
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Well, and then looking, just 47. So that's what this American Airlines airplane would have looked like back in the war. And so much so that when we painted this airplane, this C-47 that was built in 1944, we didn't really have an idea of how we wanted to paint it, like what we wanted to portray. But while researching that, we found that this airplane back plane and this airplane's markings. So this is what the DC-3, yeah, so it's like a tribute to it. And this airplane could have had its own history. We just don't know. We know that it went over to Europe in 44 and stayed there with the French until after the war, and ended up with the Israelis and then to the United States. So we really don't know, what it did during the war. So we painted it up, and that airplane's marking. I always call this the 7374. It's a Carrera Porsche 3.0 Samson. The reason I call it 2 years is because it's really configured as a 74, but the first year that it raced in 73, the Carrera Group out of Cologne, Germany, built 3 of these things, and they took them to Le Mans, and overall, not in class, but overall, and first in class. And so it's pretty significant. And the next year, what they did is they took it back and they configured it they updated it for the 74 RSR configuration. And that's what you see here. It's in that, I call it livery, I guess, right now. But it's quite a machine. This one is owned by Steve Schmidt, and that's
lights. Is that for safety, or what is the?
Well, on racetracks, having little broken pieces of glass everywhere, and these things, so they always see them taped over, and the tape goes way past the edge, holds the lens in, and then some people also say that it protects the glass from getting broken, during race, but really just to keep all those pieces from popping out and getting all over the place. That's my.
I didn't realize it was tape. It looked 3D, so I thought it was a basket on the front. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What you're seeing, I'm sorry, is the plastic lens. So the plastic lens sticks up beyond the bevel, kind of like that. And then, of course, it's got the tape on there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then while we're here, how about a 962?
Yes.
Particularly the Jägermeister 962. So this was the pole sitter at the 1,000 kilometers of Spa. And so, wow, that's in itself a big deal. And then it went on to win the race. So it's a really big deal. And then I think Bruin Motorsport went on to take the championship.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. See, I was just going to come out here and walk around, look at these cars this morning anyway, so it's great to have you along.
There you go.
There's that, and we've got a few more cars if you've got some more time.
We've got a half an hour left. We're good.
Oh, okay. Hopefully I don't have to fill a half an hour.
You're not doing so bad already. We're good. You're very keen, and you're very knowledgeable.
Oh, well, I fake it. So this is a B-25. I'll just show this as we walk to the next cars. The B-25 Mitchell bomber, World War II medium bomber. If you've ever heard of the Tokyo Raiders, the Duke trying to do that, but they did that during wartime back in April 42, and the idea was to attack downtown Tokyo to show that it was one just like it. This and 16 of them actually, and so this kind of give you an idea. People like to see engines, right?
Yes.
So there's two, you're seeing kind of, well, I guess in that picture you're seeing 3 cylinders, 1, 2, 3 cylinders there. This is a 14-cylinder radial engine, so it's got 2 rows of 7. And I'll say for our Porsche friends, air-cooled. Diameter of the propeller, but it's probably, you know, approaching, you know, 11, 12 feet, something like that. And then going back this way, if my buddy's on in Colorado, he can tell you everything there is to know about that propeller. Yeah, I'm kind of like one of those, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. So I'm always looking for information. I can get by with a little bit of everything, but not necessarily. Maybe I'm an expert in 1 or 2 things. Self-proclaimed, right? There's the V25 right there, twin 50 caliber machine guns. Going back down here, and then how about this? Beautiful 63 Carrera 2. Another race car. What makes these things, you know, even more special is that they're the 4-cam engines. So they got the famous rare 4-cam engine, you know, the best of the best. And that's over here and open this up. Let's see. Fun to do with one hand, right?
Yes. Called talent.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. How about that? That probably looks really awkward, but there you are. So there's the engine. You kind of get down in there, you can kind of see the valve covers. 4-cam. 2 on each side.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think they did have a stint. There is an airplane that out recently, but these aren't necessarily Porsche airplanes. I just want to clarify that. These are Lyon Air Museum, and then we have a Porsche exhibit. So we're carrying the two. But although if you had the Porsche airplane, there's one that I just posted for sale. That would be awesome.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
Yes.
And then you take this Carrera 2 and in most beautiful car version. Look at this 59 Carrera here.
And you have
100 Carrera GS Deluxe.
You have a picture of this on your website.
If I can give you that same view, we'll walk around and take a look at that. So this has, again, another of the 4-cam Porsche engines. So again, I know I'm kind of up close. I want to be farther away, but I'll probably trip over something. Oh, that's the A26. That's a neat shot right there, isn't it?
That is a great shot.
Yeah, that'd make a good post right there. But so that's a A26, and those built by Douglas Aircraft Corporation, and they flew those in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. So all 3 wars, which is you know, just shows how versatile the airplane was. They call it like kind of an attack airplane. It had a bomb bay. So it was very slick and fast, and it had 2 radial engines. They were each 2,000 cubic inches, so 800 cubic inches each at 2,000 horsepower each. So, so you're looking at a lot. You can do the math on 28 times 2. So there's that view. See a couple of previews to what we'll walk to here in a few seconds, but let's go check out this Outlaw.
Okay.
I think this one's been affectionately called Tiffany because it looks like the Tiffany's color.
Blue, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of got that bluish, you know, bluish greenish kind of look to it. It's got the glass bar top on it. It's got the Rudge knockoff wheels. which are really rare. I'm sure there's a few people out there going, ooh, I like those wheels, because I think those are really rare wheels.
So try. I'm just going to go ahead and reiterate that. So even though July 1st was the day that this exhibit opened, which is called the Summer of Porsche, that California will get COVID under control and the museum will open so that everybody can go and enjoy things in person. And you see August 29th and 30th is the weekend of Porsche, which will be a great exhibit for anybody that can make it down there. So let's, keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, so that's exactly. We're hoping to open. We're safer than Trader Joe's, I think. Trader Joe's, but we're a big, huge open hangar with really high ceilings, everyone.
Yes.
And so it's spacing distance here and free air. We got these huge, we open these big hangar doors. There's 12, you're looking at 2 hangar doors. There's 12 of those.
Wow.
So you can see how big this place is.
Yeah, you're practically outdoor space.
Yeah, so we're practically an outdoor space. So as soon as they allow us to, we feel it's appropriate, we will open. And we'll be open daily, 7 days. One day you mentioned at the end of August will be an extra special day, because we'll have the other cars, the visiting cars, as well as the cars that are here on display now. How about a 906?
I love it. Oh, Claude's been waiting for this one since the start.
Yeah, so beautiful 906. Thanks, Jeff Swart, for this. He drove this over to us here just before July 1st, and we put it up on the little platform, and what a beautiful came after that, and one of the first of the all fiberglass bodied tubular frame race cars by Porsche. Very successful. I think if I go over 24 hours at Daytona, first in class, 6th overall back in 1966. Victories at Monza, Spa, Nürburgring in 66. Class wins at Sebring. That not this specific car, but 906 in general. This specific car did a lot of racing around Germany at that time as well, and then it's still campaigned go with the 906 Carrera 6 there. I just love it. I mean, I love the wheels. I love the rawness of it. Everything about it's just so cool.
And for all of you can't racing.
Uh-oh. I was losing your talk, and I'm sorry I didn't hear some of that.
That's okay.
You're frozen.
We're good.
Okay, you can hear me okay.
Show coming up with a race builder who works with Jeff, that builds race cars for Jeff. They worked at a 95.
Okay.
Claude had a question. He says, will you have the long tail 906 from Steve Foster for the August exhibit?
I believe so. He recently did almost in-house photographer, and he's just a great automotive photographer. And so we have a little program where people can get shots with our airplanes and out on our flight line and all that. And he recently participated in that with his 906 movie post-production stuff. And oh my gosh, it's great stuff. So if anybody wants to have their car photographed here, reach out to us and we'll see what we can set up.
Wow, that's a great offer.
Yeah, yeah. So how about this little rare gem? So there's the Porsche A Barth here. This one's 1960. And there's always kind of like you think of a 356, but then shorter and narrower. Let's see, I think it was 4.7 inches narrower than a regular 356 coupe and 5 inches shorter. I mean, you think about that, they're already a 356 coupe's pretty small. And you think of that kind of reduction in size. And then on top of that, you think of the specs like they said 16%, quite a big deal. And it's got some neat things too. Let me go take a look here. This one belongs to Jack Crowell. So Kingsley and Jack Crowell were kind enough to loan us this car. And it's another one of those kind of raw, real race cars. Still race around in vintage racing. And then coming back to the back here.
Oh, wow.
It's funny. I'd read about that. So there's an adjustable air ramp. So then I go, okay, how do you adjust this thing? And so I'll show you. It's kind of an interesting little thing here. I think I can, let's see, I've got to remember how to do this. I think this is one that I may not be able to do with one hand. Let's see, let me try. Oh, there we go. Okay, so then check these out. So this is the inside where that ram is, and you can see these little arms, and they're little spring. Let me see, I gotta get my hand. There we go. Okay, I guess I'm back. So there you go. You can see the little holes, and you can adjust that thing open and close. So anybody who's ever wanted to know why it's got an adjustable ram or how it works, there you go.
So I'm guessing that's for cooling and not aerodynamics.
Yes. Looking at that, yep, because that's right above where the little cooling through the front hood fueling. Pretty neat there. It's funny, I was carrying all these notes with me, and I just stopped reading them because I don't think anybody wants to tell specs. They can read them and talk. And then 2004 Carrera GT, just probably one of the most beautiful cars. It's just so gorgeous. Yeah, I just love this thing. This is a 5.7 liter V10 engine. 603, is it 603? I think it's 603 horsepower. And then it's a manual shift. So, so many of the, semi-modern cars, this 2004, have all the PDK or, all the other stuff, right? So this is just full-on manual.
Yeah. It was very gritty. You feel a lot on the road.
Yeah. And then I always thought this is neat. Let me see if I can find this. But so you open the door here. How about this for a cute little place to put stuff?
Little secret.
Yeah, a little secret compartment there. And then I will find here we go. Pop the deck here. And we'll go back and look at all this prettiness here. This prettiness. Wow, look at that.
It's a challenging engine to maintain.
Yeah.
The setup on it is just so unique. It's so different from all other Porsches.
You come back here, you can really get kind of artsy with it. It's just so beautiful. And you can see the 312 tractor right through the...
It's like window.
Through the screen there. Pretty cool. Just showed you 15 Porsches.
I haven't kept count, but you're doing pretty
Yeah.
How many do you total?
15.
Okay.
Well, there's one more. There's this little guy, this little ski.
A ski? Porsche made a ski?
Yeah, Porsche, they made a lot of other products, and we didn't know where to draw the line, so we drew the line right here with the 212, the ski bob, I think is what they.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, check that out. So you might have to dismantle some of these at some point.
I love it.
So there's a little bit of information about it. But I think of this, and I just picture like James Bond going down a snow-covered European ski lift somewhere, and he's got his little ski bobber going, and yeah, ski bob 212. That's what they call it. You can go see Porsches a lot of places, but I think what's neat about when you have a display here at Lyon Air Museum is that it's the setting. To have them with all this beautiful aluminum in the background from the airplanes, like in this case the B-17 Flying Fortress. So that's
it is the background. There's actually a whole Facebook group about Porsches and planes.
Oh,
I will share the link for this into that group, definitely.
yeah. So another kind of final parting look at the Carrera GT there. Such a beautiful.
And the backdrop is pretty amazing. That's spectacular.
So you're looking at the
Porsches that you have, that's incredible, because you don't always get that much vintage racing history all in one place, even if you go to some kind of event.
Yeah, exactly. So just as we're kind of wrapping up here, just show you the B-17 real quick. B-17 Flying Fortress. This was probably they got R1820 engines. So those are 9-cylinder radial engines, 1,820 cubic inches each. There's 4 of them. So it burns about 200 gallons an hour at cruise power.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can do the math real quick. Gas sometimes it's a little running at cruise power. And then don't even think about takeoff power, because that just changes that equation significantly. Kind of neat to see the Carrera GT back there through the underneath the landing gear. And the 906 and the Carrera 2 names for everything, the Flying Fortress and and all that. Super Fortress, it was the reason it was a fortress is really these things. So it had a bunch of these guns all over it, and the idea was this airplane would be used during World War II for daylight bombing. So they would, in the middle of the day, head over from England to Germany with strategic things like ball bearing factories, right? Something like that. And the German fighter aircraft would come up and try to knock them out of the sky before they got there. And so they needed these guns to defend themselves. So, guns there, guns up on top. You see a turret up there. There's a ball turret. You can see kind of back behind the Bombay doors there. There's a ball turret on the bell over here. This one. Little Steve McQueen 1921 Harley.
I love it. Do you ever go to the Steve McQueen show?
Oh, yeah. I guess, I was really looking forward to going this year. And
Me too.
Yeah, but
Chad is awesome. She puts together. So I wonder, do you know my friends Michael Dolphin and oh my gosh, why am I the brothers? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on their
organizers.
Yes, and I'm blanking on his name, and I've known them for years. They used to do a Porsche show at their yard.
Oh, I gotta try to bail you out, but I couldn't think of it either. So yeah. So those are, I was mentioning those tail gun or the side guns there, and then back here you go all the way around. And can you imagine during World War II being an 18-year-old, 19, 20-year-old crawling into there, sitting back there with the 250 caliber machine guns out the tail of this beast. Only thing between the at the time enemy fighters trying to take your whole plane and all of your fellow crew members out of the sky, and you had to use that thing right there and knock them down. The tail gunner.
Okay.
Yes. So you're looking at the tail.
Right.
Yeah, I know it's hard because.
Although for the time that you're not shooting, that's got to be the best view in the house besides the pilots.
Yeah. The trip back was probably lovely. It was just that time when everybody was trying to kill you that probably wasn't so good. A little Panther motorcycle here. That's another Steve McQueen motorcycle.
Love it.
And then I got a little.
I grew up watching knowledgeable in all kinds of World War II and one. Every kind of machinery, whether it's airplanes or whether it's weaponry, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I grew up watching all this stuff when I was a kid. It was incredible.
Oh yeah, me too. And then there's advanced trainer during any airplane flown by the Allies or at least the Americans during World War II. They would come through this airplane on the way to it, and they even use these in some countries as fighters later on. So they weren't slouches, but 600 horsepower, 9-cylinder radial engine, 1,340 cubic inch, and again, air-cooled airplane. We don't have any liquid-cooled airplanes in here. We don't have anything against them. We just don't have any. But anyway, there's your big engine right there.
When did it work from air to liquid? Curiously.
Well, it was happening concurrently, like during World War II. There was two schools of thought, and the radial engines like these were very reliable, but they had big frontal area to them. So you look at that, you're pushing that through the air. They were streamlined. They had better visibility out of them, because they had skinny little pointy noses on them. Look online, look up like a P-51 Mustang, and that'll kind of give you the idea of what I'm talking about there. But see how blunt the front of this airplane is, but
yes.
Very reliable. This is an engine Pratt & Whitney, and Pratt & Whitney's deal. We have a little observation airplane in here, 01 Bird Dog. That's a Korea and Vietnam vintage airplane with little smoke rockets on it for marking targets.
And I'm just we probably have about 2 minutes left, I'd say. Maybe 2
okay.
3 minutes. So.
Yeah, so you can wrap anytime. That's another air-cooled engine right there. That's 6-cylinder engine, and it's opposed. So we call them opposed in aviation, but for Porsche speak, that an air-cooled. And then that's kind of it. I think I showed you most of the airplanes. There's a lot to see, a lot of displays and so forth. And then I think probably the highlight of our museum when they come in and they show people around the facility, and that's all included in when you come in to see the place. And a lot of the guys are like World War II veterans, and if they're younger, they're just very up on their history, and they've got great stories, and they're really the stars of the attraction, believe it or not.
That's good to know. Somebody asked really quickly before we end, what's the agenda of the 29th, 30th show? So do you have a of Los Angeles? I sit on the board, and we're the 5th largest in the nation. So we'll probably have a good following of LA people as well. So if you can, quick rundown.
Yeah, so we're going to do, it's 2 days. So the first day, the focus is on 356, and the second day's focus is on 9/11. But it doesn't mean you can't show up on the first day with a 9/11. That's fine. I mean, we're going to be an equal opportunity Porsche deal, but laid out on the flight line, which is all prearranged, so you can't just show up and do that. That's all kind of a prearranged thing. And then we'll have this exhibit that I just walked around with you. This will be here, and then we'll have a bunch of stuff in the front parking lot. So, you know, hundreds of cars, you know, some here, some visiting, and it'll just be a great Porsche day. I want to say to everybody out there, we made these beautiful. If for some reason we can't open, we're still going to sell those darn things. So make sure to check in.
Funny. So does it look like your ad with the hot pink and the orange?
You know, that was actually a thought. We were going to do something similar to that, but we went with something more. It's a black shirt, kind of a similar shirt. It's got the Carrera Gt on it, the race car, and a B-25 Mitchell bomber on it. It's a pretty neat little shirt. But I just saw a proof going to get them, and you know, hopefully we'll be able to sell them to a bunch of people coming through the museum, and if not, they're still going to be available throughout the year.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mark. I really, really appreciate all the time and attention you've spent giving us the lowdown on each one of these cars. Incredible thing to see. That's definitely a rarity. So again, it's the Lyon Air Museum down in Orange County. My original post has a list of all of the different Porsches that are there. It has, I don't remember if I have the address, but the flyer has the address. And obviously you can go to their handle at Lyon Air Museum and check out where their address is. So it's Summer Porsche. Anyway, so Summer Porsche's exhibit, Weekend of Porsche, is going to be August 29th to 30th. So I just want to say thank you again for all the.
Thanks for including us on your show today.